What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer and Kyle Kelly live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel with On3 National Scout Cody Belair joining us this week. A lot to discuss with Cody. His title is National Scouts at Rivals. Of course, On3 purchasing Rivals. The national recruiting brand for the company is now under the Rivals umbrella. Cody, you doing all right, my friend?
I am doing excellent, man. How the hell are you guys?
I'm great. It's July 18th. Notre Dame's rolling on the recruiting trail. Kyle, you good on your end, brother?
Yeah, I'm pumped for this. I got my pen out. I got some paper. I'm going to take some notes. So I'm excited to hear Cody talk, and we might repurpose some of this stuff for some stories next week. But yeah, I'm excited, man. These talent evaluators, they got a real eye for talent. So I'm excited to hear a little bit of Cody's perspective.
I am as well. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this YouTube video and subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. If you are new here, see Andy Milton fan in the chat, Mark Glasses, good group early on. Yeah, if you're watching live, watching back, listening to this as a podcast, really appreciate you guys for making us a part of your day. So with Cody, we're going to talk about a handful of recruits that Cody feels especially strongly about, some he's seen in person recently. So really looking forward to today's show. So Cody, for some Notre Dame fans who aren't familiar with you, I think it was about probably this time last year that you appeared on our YouTube channel last, and gave great insight on Notre Dame recruiting. And then for our mega show a couple years ago, before the Ohio State game, I remember you and Charles were on, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself, Cody, your background, what you do, really for a living. Like, what does it mean to be a national scout for Rivals?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my gig is watching film. That's the name of the game, right? It's watching film. It's breaking down tape on these guys. It's watching games. It's going through highlight reels. It's going to certain national events and seeing a lot of the guys in person, getting body types and all that good stuff. But yeah, the name of the game is watching tape and breaking it down into a rankings perspective, right? Like, where do these kids grade in relation to the NFL draft? And I think that's important to emphasize and make sure I make a point of, because that is what these grades reflect. It's towards the NFL draft and how these guys will eventually grade out as NFL draft prospects. But as for my background, I was in the personnel game for about 8 or so years. And most recently, I was the director of scouting at Texas Tech. But before then, I had stops at Baylor, Texas A&M, and LSU, which is where I went to school. So it was a really fun time. But, now I get to show up to work with no pants on, and it's pretty good. So I'm enjoying myself now. But it's great. I get to be at home. I get to do the thing I love, which is evaluating players, and I get to be at home with my wife and, doing everything like normal people stuff.
Yeah,
so
get to travel to some cool places.
It's been a great transition. And the thing that I would say that's funny about it from an evaluation perspective, I get to see more of these prospects live with my own eyeballs than I ever would have with working for a team, just because there's so many rules and regulations against that. So I can see these guys live more than I ever have before.
Let me touch on the NFL draft thing, because I know a lot of Notre Dame fans and talking to them over the years on our Loose Emoji message board. Love for you guys to join our site. Go to blueandgold.com. Is that NFL draft thing? Because it's like, everyone's like, I don't give a shit. Sorry for cussing. I don't give a shit about like NFL draft. I want the rankings to be how good they are in college.
Sure.
And my read on it was that initially. I was like, what are you talking about NFL draft? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then the more you think about it, if I'm Charles Power and Cody Belair, I want to know if my rankings are good or not. And how are you going to base that? You're going to base it off of stats? Okay, then every Texas Tech or like Houston quarterback, let's rank him the highest because they're going to light it up and be all conference every year. Yeah, you're going to base it off of awards, which is highly subjective, right? Like,
yep, right. It's the only time in a player's career where they're technically picked again. Right out of high school, you're being selected and you're being offered by programs at the college level that are selecting you to be a part of their team. The only time that ever happens ever again in a football player's career is the NFL draft. And obviously that's based off a certain criteria that we believe our job is to project at that level. And so it's the only time we get to do that ever again in a player's career. And at the end of the day, too, Mike, I mean, a lot of good college football players do get selected in the NFL draft. So it's not like a random non-associated thing that has to do with a talent level deal. Like, it's very much the talented players do end up playing on Sunday. So there are the occasional guys that do have college success. They don't necessarily translate that success to the NFL level, but the hit rate is so high that it's the only one that makes sense for us to like quantify how accurate our rankings really are.
Completely agree. Yeah, there's outliers, and it's not a perfect system. But I always say, give me a better one. Give me a better one. People are like, awards, all conference. I'm like, bro. Like,
well, that's when we get to like you name these sort of like all conference team, right? So how do you differentiate a guy that made first team all Sun Belt versus a guy that was third team all Big 12? Like, I don't know which one had the better career, right? Or which one had the better season. It's tough to go apples to apples with that.
Yeah. Kyle, do you have anything on this?
Random question. When you were evaluating recruits in the college ranks, did you project them as NFL guys?
No.
Is that okay? Yeah. So
no,
I guess that's where the difference would be.
Right. And that's sort of what the way I try to explain it is if I'm working for a college team. Now, granted, like we said, having NFL talent, it's not 1-to-1 in terms of, if he's a good college player, he's going to go to the NFL, right? That's not how it works. So, but is getting NFL guys helpful for a college team? Absolutely. But the goal for us at the college level is not to produce NFL talent. The goal is to win games. So if you asked a coach right now, hey, would you send 0 guys to the league if it means you win a national championship? They would say yes. Every single time, 10 out of 10, because that's the goal. So if you're constructing a roster, the idea is to get as many players that help you win games as you possibly can. Now, are most of those guys possible NFL draft prospects? Yes, but that's sort of the name of the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Cody. And just in thinking about conversations I've had with different sources, on the Notre Dame side of things over the years, it's like they talk about, oh man, this recruit, we think he's a draft pick. Like, so that definitely is a thing. You think long term, totally. And then of course, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, and the way teams look at it is basically you want to have guys that can come in and play a role for you. There's certain expectations with certain players that come into your program. So for instance, if you're saying, oh, we want to take 85 to 100 guys that we think have NFL draft potential, well, half of those guys may never reach that potential. So it's not smart to construct your roster with guys that are all long-term developmental guys. Maybe you do want players that have limited ceilings, but their floors are higher.
Right.
And they know they serve a role for your team specifically. So it's all just it's a puzzle that we're all trying to put together as best pieces as we possibly can.
Yeah, I think like Nick Reddish, I think he's an outstanding defensive back talent for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But like just physically, like is he going to be a stud, potentially? And like if he and Joey O'Brien both make it to the pros, like whose ceiling is higher, or things. But Nick Reddish, with what he could do as like a box safety and a nickel, it's very niche, but it's very important. Right. So I love what you said there. Like, Notre Dame is going to take a long snapper. It's a very niche. It's a niche thing. He's not going to be a first round pick, but you need a long snapper.
And I do think it's funny to. I think when some people, you look at the rankings from like with a magnifying glass, you're like, gosh, they don't really like this guy. They think he's a 5th rounder. That's not very. Guys, every team in the country wants 5th rounders. Yeah. If you had a full team of 5th rounders, you're going to be a really good football team.
100%.
So I promise those guys play and they're good. So it's not a bad thing. I promise.
We spent more time on this than I wanted to, and then we'll dive into some recruits specifically. But I wanted to, with the rankings. All right, so you're 5-star. You have 32 5-stars at the end of the cycle. Right now, you guys only have 12 at Rivals, but it's going to eventually be 32.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to like positional value, right? You want it. There's not many running backs that get drafted in the first round. There's not a ton of safeties. So is it like, man, we think this running back or this safety maybe like a Joey O'Brien, for example. We'll talk about him in a bit. We
Sure.
think he's a 5-star talent, but he's less likely to be picked in the first round as a quarterback. So is that like a flaw? Is that something you guys kind of be like, man, we think he's a 5-star talent, but maybe doesn't get picked in the first round just based on math?
To me, to us, right, Mike, I think the way you look at it is saying, like, if you're going to make a safety or a running back a 5-star talent, right, or a 5-star ranking, they really have to be like special, right? Because even I would say Joey O'Brien, right, in that case, in order for him to be a first round selection at safety, he has to be a higher caliber safety prospect than maybe the highest ranked quarterback prospect or the highest ranked edge prospect or the highest ranked offensive tackle.
Just based on positional importance.
100%, because the NFL is willing to give some leeway to guys at those premier positions if they think they could become anchors at their respective positions. And the safety position is just not one that's valued as highly, or the running back position is valued as highly at that level in relation to the draft as it is in the college game.
So do you think that's maybe, for lack of a better term, a flaw in the NFL projection part of it? Because if I'm a college fan, I'm like, I don't care about that.
Right. To a certain degree, I think it's more of the values, not so much in the 5-star ranking as much as it is in the slot at the position group. For instance, like the number 1 safety, you are the guy. Like it's more valuable to be the number 1 safety than it is to be a top 32 player in draft relation. Sure. If that makes sense, right? Like, so it's just, but I will say it does add extra oomph. Like if you are a 5-star safety, I mean, you are a special talent.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood of you being selected in the first round is just so low compared to other positions. So yeah. It's, again, it's not a perfect system, just like you said, but there are certain ways to look at it.
Yeah. 3 most important positions on the field, in my opinion. Obviously the quarterback, and then you need to protect that quarterback, and you got to get the other team's quarterback. And Notre Dame's got a damn good one that goes and gets the other team's quarterback in Rodney Dunham, who I believe you guys ranked them highest first. Like I know 24/7, ESPN have since bumped them up pretty high, but you guys have been the number 6 overall player and number 3 edge according to your rankings. What do you see on Rodney Dunham's tape? What a huge get for Notre Dame out of the South.
Right. He's such a special physical and athletic specimen that even what you do see from him on Friday nights, which is great by all means, you know that he's still scratching the surface of his true potential, because this is an edge that is 6'4", 215 pounds with an 80-inch wingspan. Check. He's run 4.8 in the 40. Check. He's got 10 plus tackles for loss with a multi-sport background. Check. Oh, and he's a late birthday for the cycle, so his body's still developing. Check. I mean, when we talk about pieces of clay for coaches to mold at the next level, these are the kinds of guys that coaches who truly want to develop, they salivate over guys like this because they have physical and athletic tools that you cannot teach. But teaching athletes like him how to use those tools and maximize these kinds of traits, that's how true teachers and developers of talent shine, with guys exactly like this.
Kyle?
Yeah, Cody, how much do you value the physical traits and testing when it comes to rankings?
It's a paramount, because the NFL draft has a bar, right? That's one of the things that I think the NFL has shown time and time again, that there is a bar for the standard of athletic ability and size requirements to play in that league. Now, granted, obviously there are outliers there. Like a guy that I was around at LSU was Jarvis Landry. I don't know if he ever cracked faster than a 4.7 in his 40, ever. But that doesn't mean a guy that runs 4.7 should instantly be like, oh, let's just ignore that because Jarvis Landry succeeded, which means every guy that runs a 4.7 has a chance. No, that's not how it works. So I would say it's just extremely helpful in finding neighborhoods of players that reach those metrics, right? Those size, height, weight, speed metrics. It just gives you a better inkling of like, okay, I know at a bare minimum, his floor is this, right? So it just helps you set a foundation for a player's floor in this ranking process.
If you have two prospects who are like identical, and then one has this arm length
Preach
at
on it,
like a
Mike.
defensive
Say it.
end versus this guy, or it's like, dude, I'm recruiting a kid and this guy's got a 4.0 GPA, this kid's got a 2.9. It's like, give me the 4.0 kid. Like it's raises the floor and often cases the ceiling as well.
Right.
Speaking of ceiling, Cody, I remember. Okay, so when Grayson was about to commit to Notre Dame, I think you sent me in the audio for his expert reaction.
So. Sure.
And then Charles texted me when he got, because Charles was either on vacation or at some event. I think he was at Elite 11.
I think he was.
Charles texted me, said, dude, I'm kind of pissed that Cody did that because he wanted to talk about Grayson. So he got the old Notre Dame bump. He got the old Notre Dame bump. This might be, I think, 4 or 5 years in a row that an offensive tackle is committed to Notre Dame and then just exploded up in the rankings. You had Wagner in 2022, Jagisaw in 2023, Gerby Lambert in 24, Will Black in 25. Now, Grayson McHugh's not a 5-star yet, but he's got that 97 grade, which if he goes up to a 98, that's a 5-star. Right. And he is the number 13 overall player. I mentioned earlier, there's 12 5-stars. He's number 13. So this young man is getting some Joe Alt comparisons. What makes you so excited about this get for Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, Grayson McHugh is obviously one of the biggest risers for us in the initial Rivals 300 rankings for the cycle. And a lot of that has to do with gaining more verified data on him this summer, because as we can see, the junior film has always been good. You know, we felt the player has always popped on tape, but being able to add even more context to what we're watching made it all the more impressive when you sit back and say, oh, wow, he's moving like that at a verified 6'7 plus, 280 pounds, and he's striking these defenders and pass rushers with 34.5-inch arms and 10.5-inch hands. Those kinds of things carry weight in the NFL draft, which means they carry weight for us as well. And the thing that makes him so scarily similar to guys like Joe Alt and Will Black, like that we've talked about from previous classes, is the combination of fluidity and explosiveness at that size, man. I mean, Grayson ran nearly sub 5 in the 40 this summer with a 4.6 shuttle at 280 pounds. That's not normal for guys that size. And so when we talk about that combination of physical and athletic traits at the tackle position, Grayson's got it in bunches.
So you like the Joe Alt? Because, I mean, he played tight end and D end, which, I don't want to compare every OT for Notre Dame to Alt, but
right. And I'm usually not a proponent of, I don't call it a lazy comparison, but it's one of those where it's like so obvious it kind of hits you in the face. This just might be one of those. Because, I mean, the body structure's the same. The play style's the same. He's so comfortable in pass protection. For him, it's genuinely all about getting bigger and stronger and maintaining his athletic ability, because naturally he's going to get stronger as he adds mass. Once he gets in a strength and conditioning program at the next level, they're going to put weight on him, no problem. I mean, the sky's the limit with a guy like this.
Yeah. Andy Milton fan said Joe Alt always had a 3-star ranking. Now, that 21 class was before you joined. I think you joined like 6 or 7 months later, but Charles had him ranked as a 4-star,
correct,
like top 200 type player. So I think by the time Charles got to rank him, which was like right before the freshman season for him, he had a little bit more data than probably the other guys, but the other websites, but still did rank him, as like a top 200 overall player ish.
Right.
You had a little bit of a viral tweet. I don't know what the numbers were on it, but you said that Joey O'Brien is the best 7-on-7 player I've ever seen. What made you tweet this? Joey O'Brien, of course, the elite receiver, corner, safety, could play really anything on Notre Dame. He even told me nickel, by the way, that he could, like, Notre Dame's going to start him out at safety and nickel. Yeah. But number 47 overall player, number 3 safety. Huge bump for him, but I think 52 spots, and Notre Dame fans are still pissed at you guys that he's not even a 5-star. So tell me about that tweet. Tell me what you think about Joey O'Brien.
Seeing Joey O'Brien at OT7 is maybe some of the most fun you can have in the offseason from a football perspective, because he really is that special in that setting. I mean, it's the range, it's the ball skills, the instincts, it's everything that he does. He just dominates in that space. But honestly, seeing him at the Rivals 5-star event was the biggest thing for us when it came to this bump, because we were able to see him run with some of the top pass catchers in the country. You know, you watch him in 7-on, it's always off coverage, right? He's not really playing man up on the corner. He's usually playing like middle of the field, center field kind of guy. And he just looks like a pterodactyl out there, just with the range and his ability to clog these passing lanes. But being able to watch him play press man at corner and flip his hips and turn and run with some of these guys that have real speed, and watch him go stride for stride with some of these guys, was so helpful in answering some of the questions we had on him, which was fantastic. The next big box for us that I think we'd love to see, and hold on, I'm going to watch this rep with you, because that's the type, like, it's the physicality, it's the length, it's all of that at the point. And is this the same rep over again, Mike?
Yeah.
Watch him punch this cat, and he doesn't get off of him. I mean, that's a reroute off the top against one of the most dynamic playmakers at receiver that you'll possibly see.
Who was that?
I can't remember his name, but I know he's a gadget kid. We like him. I forget where he's committed to, but he's so dynamic, but his length and his physicality neutralizes him off the snap. Like, that's something that he can do at that position because he's so fluid and has the recovery speed. Now that we can confirm he has the recovery speed to sit on a route like that and have it be no problem. But the biggest box, I think, for him to check at the next sort of marker, right? He's older for the class. So he's 18 already. He's 6'4", 185-ish pounds. We just want to know if he can move the same if he sits closer to that 210, 205 pound range that he's expected to get to at the next level. Or is this a guy that sits right around 200, 195 in order to maintain that twitch and explosive ability that can separate his ceiling from being a top tier first rounder to being a back end first rounder, high end round 2 type of prospect. So that movement is minimal, but it is movement nonetheless.
Cody, do you remember Kyle Hamilton's
Absolutely.
Yes, Kyle Hamilton, but his NFL scouting combine? Because I feel like he ran a slow 40, and we were hearing a lot of the same things about some potential weaknesses in Hamilton's game as maybe in O'Brien's. So how do you weigh that? Because Hamilton, I mean, he slid in the first round, but he was still I think 15 pick, and now ESPN just put out a report this week that a bunch of anonymous coaches and executives ranked Hamilton as the best safety in the NFL.
Absolutely. And I still think it's a betting game, right? Because the idea is that, yes, Kyle Hamilton did not run as well as I think you would want him to, but the way he plays between the white lines and at the speed in which he plays in live settings is faster than what he tests. However, do we have a verified weight on what Kyle Hamilton was at that combine? I want to say it was, 211? 213? Do we have a number on that?
I was looking that up.
I'm on it. I'm fast. I do feel like it was like 215. I'm checking.
Because for me, I think Kyle Hamilton, what did he run? I think like 4.65, 4.67, maybe something like that.
Something like that.
At 215 is still functional. Like, he's not running 4.8 out there where like you can't play between the white lines. That is that's absolutely functional speed. I get concerned because we don't know a number for Joey. However, being able to see him at Rivals was extremely helpful because I think he can run with a lot of these guys. But I don't know what Joey O'Brien runs at 210. I know what Joey O'Brien runs at 180, 185. But adding 30 pounds and being able to maintain your speed is not an easy task. So it could bog him down. He could look like he's moving a little slower than we normally see, playing in quicksand a little bit. That is very possible. So that is something that is a hang up for us, especially because he is older for the cycle. So his body is, in comparison to other guys in his class, he is more developed from a physical standpoint. So What does he look like with an extra 30, 35 pounds on him? That's sort of a concern. But that's how it relates to Kyle Hamilton at the combine, because Kyle ran it at 215 pounds. You know he's a 4'6" guy at 215. I know Joey O'Brien's like probably mid 4'6", I would say, at 185, which is sort of the concern.
I won't bore you with the details, but I cannot find his combine weight.
Just in the chat saying 6'4", 220.
That sounds
for what
right.
it's worth.
Woo! I can tell you right now.
I am going to be very curious if you look up on Google Kyle Hamilton NFL Combine profile, because I cannot find like the verified one that they put on NFL.com with like analysis from Lance Zierlein and everything like that, because I reference those all the times. But I can't find it. So hopefully your Google algorithm is more effective.
No, that's okay. My computer just froze. So,
boy, Google does not want us to know how much Kyle Hamilton weighed.
Can y'all still hear me or not?
We can hear you. You just froze on our screen, but
yeah, give me 1 second. I don't know what happened on my end.
All right. So yeah, 6'4", 220. And I like what for Hamilton at the combine. I like we can see now, Cody. I like what you said.
Lord,
like,
that was crazy.
Football speed is a certainly important thing, which maybe we don't have 100-meter or a 40 time on Joey right now, but you see
he was 220 at the combine.
Okay, so there you go. Moving along, boys.
Sure.
Ian Premer. I mean, Notre Dame as a argument for tight end U. I don't know if they are tight end U, but they have an argument for it. But they haven't been landing a caliber, like a highly ranked guy like Premer. I would say since Eli Raridan was ranked as a top 100 player, but I would probably say since Mike Mayer in the 2020 class. So Ian Premer, a little bit of an upset when he picked Notre Dame over Kansas State. It's not easy to go into Kansas and beat out Kansas State for an elite player. You might be thinking it's Kansas State. Like what? I'm just telling you guys, big time players in Kansas go to Kansas State.
Right.
But Notre Dame.
It's the same thing with Mississippi. The state of Mississippi, like a lot of those kids, they just do not leave.
You know,
grown up wearing those colors. They love it.
That was
with Deuce Knight.
With Deuce Knight. I was about to say, we had a conversation with Deuce Knight. You were like, I'm telling you, Mike, kids in Mississippi, like I think Deuce is gonna go to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And that was not with you having like any intel on. You were like, I think he's going to. And I was like, dude, it's Notre Dame. I'm telling you, we're going to remember this cover. We were both wrong.
That's what they do. It's so bizarre. But like, especially quarterbacks are just a whole nother mess. But like, man, when we talk about a guy like Ian Premer, we love Ian Premer. It's everything about the kid and the prospect that when you look at tight ends that have been drafted highly recently, Premer's got it. I mean, from a size perspective, he's nearly 6'5", 230 pounds with quality length. I think he's got 33-inch arms, which is great for the tight end position. I mean, he plays both ways for his high school. He returns punts and kicks. I mean, he's got a multi-sport background. And if you haven't watched this guy play basketball, I highly recommend you look up Ian Premer's basketball reel, because it is extremely fun to watch. He's a guy that plays above the rim. And he yams, like he legit yams on kids at the high school basketball level. But of all those things, they all help shape him as an athlete. And humans his size are not supposed to move like receivers that are 5 inches shorter and 40 pounds lighter than him. He's explosive. He's bouncy. He's fluid. He catches the ball away from his frame so well. I mean, he has every opportunity as a senior, I think, to become the top tight end in the cycle, to be honest with you. Oh, yeah, we getting some basketball good? Yeah, let me see this footage.
Andy Milton fan in the chat said James Flanagan. Yeah, James Flanagan ranked high, Eli Raridan ranked high, but not like 5-star, like the top 2 or 3, 4 tight end in the country.
He makes it look so easy, man. I love watching Ian Premer move around.
And it seems like he's still pretty raw, too. It's like he's just playing on straight athleticism. Like he's not like a touched up.
That's the thing, Mike. I mean, you watch the way the kid moves. He's such a natural, springy athlete, but look at his body type too, man. Like, I think you could put 15 pounds and play at 245, and he'll move the exact same. Just the way his frame is built out. He's so long, and the frame just looks so easy to add weight to, and he's just such a good looking athlete. I mean, this is the guy that I think when we talk upside at that position, that's what it looks like.
I'm going to kind of switch gears. I'm just curious, Cody, in your years working in scouting departments, did you ever have any big recruiting battles against Notre Dame? And like, what would that look like?
Oh man, I'm trying to
I'm
think
putting you
back.
on the spot.
Oh, brother. I don't know. I'm trying to think because we always, I can't think of any prospect in particular, but there was when I was like, especially first getting going in personnel, we always had an assignment of doing an offer update. And this is before, they had some of these programs and services that would do it for you, but we had a list. And essentially what we would do every morning is go on Twitter and you would search in the top right corner, Notre Dame offer, and just scroll on Twitter.
Was that
and
a specific
any kid,
thing to Notre Dame?
It was specific to programs that we felt were strong on a national level. So it was like Notre Dame at the time, USC, Ohio State. These weren't schools that we necessarily competed against in like every recruitment, but it was schools that we trusted their evaluation process. So for instance, if Notre Dame's going to offer a national type of kid, odds are it's a good character kid. Grades are probably not going to be an issue, and it's a high level talent. So I wouldn't say we had a ton of guys that were like, oh yeah, we got to go against Notre Dame for this cat. But it was something that we genuinely took and paid attention to the way their offer process worked out, because you had to know who Notre Dame was offering. But I can't think of a kid that's going to drive me nuts.
I think that answer was probably more interesting than I would have imagined. So that was awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. Moving along, Caden Finley. I mean, Notre Dame hasn't landed this type of receiver since Jaden Greathouse a few years ago. I mean, Cam Williams, yeah. I mean, but Finley, in terms of like just that super, super high floor as a player, got a little bump in the Rivals ranking as well, from a 91 to a 92 grade. And then, I think moved up, a few spots in the national ranking as well. But that grade I thought was notable, going from a 91 to a 92 for him. Super productive. I know like data points are big for you guys, and not only the size and the athletic traits, but like every time like I get audio from Charles where he's talking about a new Notre Dame commit, he'll definitely talk about the bloodlines. And obviously he's got that with Jermichael Finley. Like that can only help. So what do you think about Caden Finley on film? What's this get for Notre Dame?
I mean, he's a fun one because the production is as good as any receiver in the country. I think this is a guy that had like 1,400 yards last year, averaging almost like 20 yards a catch or something like that. I mean, but the numbers were ridiculous. But he's also like a dense kid. Like from a physical perspective, he looks ready to go right now for a college offense at 6 foot, 205, 210 pounds. And he's pretty rocked up right now. So to me, though, the biggest concern, right, the thing we have to think about, and you mentioned it off the top, which I thought was perfect, it's the top end speed. He's not a burner, so it's not a guy with necessarily a higher ceiling, but he is a guy that can walk in and play early, right, because he is such a high floor prospect whose build means he's ready to go right now. He's not a guy that's going to take the top off of a defense, but he does have extremely strong hands and phenomenal body control. It's very similar to a guy like Jaden Greathouse that you mentioned, where you tell yourself, okay, I know exactly how this guy wins. So why make him do things that aren't going to show off his strengths? This is someone you trust on 50-50 balls. He excels in contested catch scenarios. He's a bully with the ball in his hands, and he can be a safety net for your quarterback in crunch time scenarios like third and short, got to have it for a first down type of thing. So he's someone that I think can play a big role for the Irish at the next level and develop into this jumbo skilled chess piece for an offense that can move all over the place.
Kyle?
How much stock do you put in genetics? Because Caden Finley is the son of Jermichael Finley, the former Green Bay Packers tight end. So, Cody, I'm sure you're well aware of Notre Dame's success in recruiting a lot of these NFL legacy prospects. And Marcus Freeman's talked a lot about that, and it seems like, to be honest, a lot of what attracts Notre Dame to those kids is some of the off the field things. Just the level of professionalism and maturity. But do you guys look into that much?
Right. I think it's one of those deals where there's two sides of it. So from a physical athletic perspective, obviously there's something there. For instance, like Jermichael Finley is a gigantic dude. He's a large human being. And so I think Caden Finley being more dense and more physically developed and understanding how to, develop his body properly, it helps having someone like Jermichael Finley who looks the way he does and move the way he does as being such a large human being. That does obviously play a part in projecting what these guys physically can turn into as prospects. I think it's a little more beneficial the younger they are, right? Because odds are Jermichael Finley, who's, I don't know what, 6'5 plus, 240, 50 pounds, whatever. A younger Caden Finley, you would say, okay, odds are he's probably going to pack on some weight and he'll be able to hold it comfortably, right? Just because from a genetic standpoint, that's what his dad looks like. Odds are he's going to look similar. But I think the biggest thing when you talk about guys with NFL pedigree and people in their family that have NFL pedigree, it's the way they approach things. It's really the way they approach their business. They have someone in their corner that can essentially give them step by step. This is how I approached this workouts, my diet, off-field issues, on-field issues, playing the game, playing the position. They can give them every essentially page of the binder of how to reach their goal. And guys with that sort of background, they can approach this game from a more professional standpoint than somebody that just doesn't have that asset in their corner.
Okay. I don't know if I should ask this, but what about the opposite? If it's like, I feel better about ranking this guy higher because I feel like he's got that pedigree. He knows how to train. Like he knows how to handle himself.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
How do you kind of handle a recruit who's like getting into trouble? Like, does that impact your rankings at all? I don't
I get what you're saying. I thought you were going at it from an opposite standpoint in saying, like, you could argue they're already more developed.
Oh, no.
From that standpoint, I thought you were going that direction, being like, oh, well, he's being coached and taught things about the game that no other kid at high school is being taught. Would you argue that hinders his development as a prospect? And I could see that argument, and some kids maybe are that way. But I think that's a good point too. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Kids that are doing stuff off the field that are issues, I do think that's harder for us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that doesn't come to light necessarily.
Yeah.
And that's part of the character deal that I wish we could get character grades on every prospect we watch.
Like it's a video game.
Yeah, like I wish I knew like some sort of like
so you guys, that's not unless
factor.
It's like this kid just got arrested or something, which is
like if it comes to light. Yeah, of course. If it comes to light, or if we have sources around programs and stuff like that, if people reach out to us, or obviously that's stuff that you guys do an awesome job with. Right. Y'all are analysts. Y'all are talking to people. If people that I trust, which I trust you, Mike, as much as anybody in our industry, in terms of information that you receive, I'm assuming that's coming from a trusted space.
For example, what Cody's saying. Hey, Mike, what's Grayson McHugh's measurements? Here you go, Cody. Just give me 10 minutes.
Or for instance, Mike, if you're like, hey, I just talked to the high school coach and he was not really giving a glowing review of this guy. I'm not saying that you need to kill the kid, right, and just destroy his ranking, whatever, but it's a piece of the puzzle that maybe you can throw into
data point.
The mix, right? It's exactly. It's another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And it's hard. That the character part of it's hard because that really is one of the bigger factors, especially amongst the higher rated players, because the physical and athletic ability and the positional value is there for a lot of those guys. It's not like a guy fails at the next level because we're like, oh, he's actually slower than we thought he was. Like that's rarely it. It's usually stuff between the ears that you just don't know.
Right.
That usually ends up being the downfall.
Yeah. I've watched Finley's tapes so many times, but this play in particular, I don't know how it's 2 minutes and 23 seconds in, but goodness gracious, the balance here, the ball skills, breaking tackles, going for a touchdown. This kid is so much freaking fun to watch. I'm very excited about Finley.
Can you run that one back for me, Mikey? Because that play, in a nutshell, can describe Caden Finley. Because watch, he doesn't separate from this guy. He's not going to top in, run right by him. But you see the body control, you see the contested catchability, and you see him after the catch. That is where he thrives.
Yeah.
But it's not like that might be you or me out there guarding Caden Finley, and he ain't running by either of us, which is a concern.
Yeah.
But he's gonna big boy us. He's gonna little boy us for sure. He's gonna let us know. But that play in general is very encompassing of the type of prospect he is.
Yeah, it looks like a quarters coverage or something. So it's they're
bailing. Yeah,
they're bailing. But yeah, I feel like people might hear he's not a burner, but that doesn't mean he's not a deep threat. You can still throw the ball up to him. He's gonna make plays happen.
100%.
I feel like in a similar light, Devin Fitzgerald, another NFL legacy, son of Larry Fitzgerald, who I think was a pretty decent wide receiver in the NFL. I thought you guys were going to bump him up to a 4-star, to be honest, this rankings, but I think he went from an 86 or an 87 to an 88 grade, which is, a high 3-star. 89 is the highest 3-star, and then a 90 grade is a 4-star, but still went from 150 in the receiver rankings up to 83. And I would imagine with that move, he's got the potential to move up even higher, as someone you guys are going to keep a close eye on. And you got to see him at the OT7, and I know he had a really good day. He was the top performer for you guys, I want to say, on the entire weekend.
Yeah, it was extremely beneficial for us seeing him in person. The way he moved and attacked the ball so consistently, that was obviously very reassuring. I think he has every possibility of developing into a 3-level receiver. And when I say that, I mean he has the ability to separate and win underneath with the ball in his hands after the catch. He can sink his hips and break guys off at the intermediate level and move the sticks, right? And I think he might have the top end speed and ball tracking to win in the vertical passing game as well. And to us, that's someone who projects to become a potential number 1 option at the next level. So for him specifically, I think he needs to continue physically developing and getting more explosive, because right now he's very fluid, very smooth in his game, but you want to see more juice from him. But overall, very pleased with what we're able to see from him. And if he does what we believe he's going to do as a senior, which is be extremely productive, I think it will help us determine just how high of a ceiling Devin Fitzgerald really has, because I think that 88 grade is the floor right now with him. And essentially what we're going to do is weigh that senior season and say, hey, is this a guy that's a top 15 receiver type of guy? Or is this a guy that we say, hey, maybe athletically he isn't quite that high of a ceiling, but we know he can come in and plug and play as a role option at the next level. He is, but the senior tape will tell us a lot of what we think he's developed going into that senior season. So I think he's going to tell us a lot about the type of player he really can be at the next level. But man, dude, at OT7, he really was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching him. And that was obviously our first time ever seeing him. I don't think we'd ever see him live. So that was a really fun experience. I like Devin Fitzgerald, and I think he's a very high floor guy right now. I think the senior season will tell us what the ceiling is.
I think there's a misconception that you kind of squashed there about the 88 as a floor right now, which is the way you're saying, guys, don't maybe obsess over what the ranking is right now.
Yeah.
You have at least 2 or maybe 3 more.
I think it's, I want to say it's
updates.
3, at least 2.
So probably a mid-season senior year, after senior year, then after all-star games.
Right.
So it's he's an 88 right now. But maybe if this were Cody, give me your final grade for the 26 class right now, you might say, all right, let's put him as a 90. But 88 is the floor right now. But you guys have time. You have the senior season. College coaches have to make their evaluation and decision on players a year ago, right? Or, I guess in Fitzgerald's case, they didn't have to offer till May, but that's a whole
Right.
different discussion for a different day.
Absolutely.
But Charles talks to me about that all the time. It's like, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame has to offer these quarterbacks before they throw a pass as a junior. You
absolutely
make that final call after all-star games.
We have that luxury. That's the best thing we have in this game, because we really do. And that's, I love that you gave that point, because college teams have to operate on a faster clock than us. And I think if colleges were to be able to pick how they would have it, they would wait until the All-Star games too. Like, they would love to, but they cannot do that feasibly. Like, they physically cannot do that. So for us, that is a luxury we get to have. We get to have a full senior season. We get to watch these guys physically develop and athletically develop. Some of these guys, I mean, again, there's kids that haven't even played or started, or maybe their first year starting in football was last season. And we get to see that development from year 1 to year 2 as seniors. And some colleges don't get that luxury at all. So it's obviously a huge part of the puzzle for us, that senior season. And it's the last look we all get before a kid goes on to that next step. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to have more verified data points leading up to your final ranking?
Casey said, Mike, that's a dope shirt. Do you agree with him, Cody?
I absolutely do. I would accept one.
I mean, Roback.com Notre Dame fans. What a great segue. Thank you, Casey. You are a plant from Blue and Gold with that comment. Folks, check out the Roback License Game Day collection. It's awesome. You got novel polo designs, clean hoodies, quarter zip designs for your favorite school, which is, of course, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Up on the screen for folks watching this on YouTube. You've got 4 awesome polo options. I own the latter 3 here. The Notre Dame Dancing Clover, this white one on the left, is newer, and I'm definitely going to cop that soon. And then, yeah, the quarter zips, the hoodies, very clean. I mean, fantastic material, very comfortable. Go to roback.com, RHOBACK.com, and use the promo code BLUEGOLD20 for a generous 20% off for all new customers. Roback's been leading the NIL charge in the right way, let me add. Like, this is when NIL was created. This was kind of the thing that they had in mind, with Notre Dame stars being a part of Roback in the past. Audric Estime, Kyle Hamilton, Michael Mayer, Riley Leonard, and Ben Morrison. It's the go-to brand for college athletes, and I would say for Notre Dame fans as well. So roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use a promo code BLUEGOLD20. Maybe burying the lead here on the thumbnail of this video and title, says QB trending Notre Dame. So yesterday, predictions from myself and Steve Wiltfong went in from Teddy Gerard, North Cobb High School, Kennesaw, Georgia, to land at Notre Dame. Number 171 overall player, number 12 quarterback according to the Rivals industry ranking. But 24/7 and ESPN are weighing that down because you guys bumped him to number 52 overall and number 2 quarterback very early in the 27 cycle. Like, usually, like if he were a 2026 prospect and had that ranking, his grade would be like what, like a 96 or something. It's a 91 probably right now because it's early. You guys aren't just handing out those high 90 grades, like it's Halloween candy, but still number 2 quarterback in the country being predicted to Notre Dame. Tell me about this one. What do you think about this? The player, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on the potential fit for Notre Dame.
Mike and Kyle, when
you got to see him at 5-Star Challenge, let me add that real quick. You got to see him at the end of June.
It might have been one of the better individual workouts at the quarterback position this summer, bar none. Like, I think you would argue it was probably the best QB in-person viewing that we saw all summer. And that includes Charles being able to watch those guys at Elite 11 in person. Like, the way, I'm telling you what, this was the first time we've seen him live. And the way he throws the football is so clean. It's efficient. He has quality velocity. He can push it vertically and all those good things. But man, the decisiveness all of that you're about to see, the decisiveness, the ability to process, and the ball placement in that 7-on-7 portion of that workout was exceptional. Like, I mean, he was dotting opponents up at will, and he was named the top QB at the event for us at that, and he was a top 5 overall performer at the event. And the bump in his ranking reflects that. But, I mean, he was as cool as could be under pressure. He has the arm talent to really push for that QB1 position in what we view as a completely wide open race in the 2027 cycle. That the QB group as a whole in 2027 at the top is down in comparison to other cycles that we've been a part of, which means that spot is absolutely up for grabs. If one of these guys has a really strong junior season, like, the whole cycle at the top 5 or 10 can shift completely. So, but with a guy like Teddy Gerard, I mean, if he does what he did last year and we're able to see him, develop physically, add some mass, get a little more zip on the football, if he continues to take care of the football and throw touchdowns and continue to carve up defenses like we saw this summer, I mean, he has every opportunity to be QB1.
Dang. I mean, so he's got the size, he's athletic. Like, watching the film for folks on YouTube, the first part of his junior tape, he has like broken up into like, here's some deep passes, intermediate, and then here's me on the run, which I think we'll get to in a little bit. But is he kind of like the modern day quarterback where he pretty much checks all the boxes? It's early, and he also transferred high schools. So I think he was at like North Cobb Christian as a sophomore, and then he transferred to North Cobb, so like a bigger public school, better competition, everything. But I mean, yeah, like you see that in person and on film. Yeah, mobility here.
His tape's so fun, man. I mean, it's, again, you see, is there any part of this tape? I mean, obviously now maybe because we're getting to the mobility, so he'll be escaping pressure. Is there any part of this tape where he looks hesitant or indecisive? Everything looks like, oh, I'm reading, reacting, boom. Hey, read 2, gone. Like, the ball comes out so clean, so precise. The way he operates is just at a level that almost no other quarterback looks to operate at in the 27 group.
Kyle, do you got anything for Cody?
I mean, I got a couple just odds and ends questions. Depending on where we want to take the conversation, I guess we'll keep it a little bit Notre Dame centric for now. Cody, I know you evaluate, hundreds of guys. So I know you and Mike discussed a list of some of the guys we wanted to talk about, but have you had the chance to watch Dylan Faison at all recently? He's Notre Dame's wide receiver commit out of Boca Raton area.
Not recently, because the way me and Charles kind of go about our business, we flip-flop position groups and sort of go towards the top when it comes to our Rivals 300 guys. So I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Dylan Faison. It was probably after his junior season was completed. So it's probably been like 4 or 5 months. I don't want to dive in and sort of give you this like general thought on Dylan Faison if I don't feel
exactly why I asked, because
ultra comfortable going in on him, just because I don't remember a lot of what he looked like. I remember from a size perspective, he wasn't like the biggest kid in the world, if I remember correctly. But if I remember generally, he was more of like a fluid, intermediate level guy that sort of just tore up the chains, if I remember correctly. But I don't want to dive too deep if I don't remember off the top of my head. But does that feel right ballpark wise? I don't remember.
Please don't expand any further. Because
you're fine.
I don't want to have yourself dug in a hole, because I know how hard it is. And that's what I feel like a lot of fans don't appreciate, is that like you guys are ranking hundreds of guys and are watching so much game film and contacting. So, your guys' jobs is impossible. I don't know how you do it.
Kyle, that 2026 class, I think the total amount of players I think we ended up having a grade on was, I think, 2,500 plus. And so it's just a matter of someone's got to do it. Someone's got to grind through it. And to me, to be honest with you, I know that sounds like a lot, and it is. It's a lot. I don't want to take that away at all. It's a lot. But at the end of the day, when you ask me what my job is, it's to watch high school football all day long. It could be worse. I promise it could be worse. I love doing it. Charles loves doing it. I would argue I'm one of the biggest tape heads in the world, Charles gives me a run. And I've been around it for a decade at this point. At the professional level, that fool to gloat on Charles, I genuinely believe. I just called him on the phone 2 days ago and we talked about this. I think if Charles started where I started, in the sense of being like in a personnel office, he would be a power forward director of player personnel in my mind, no question. Zero question. He's that talented and organized and has such a good eye. He could do anything he wanted to in the personnel world.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he doesn't. It just gets to do it with me,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So
Yeah,
it's a luxury, man. But watching the tape's a blast, dude.
Yeah,
It's a lot, but it's a blast.
I don't mean to glaze you too, but when I worked at, what Rivals was before on 3 and was there 9 years, and it's not meant to be disrespectful, but like, it's just reporters who are doing rankings and not scouts who are doing rankings. It's too much to ask. Yeah, like I was up for the Southeast Rivals recruiting job several years ago before we moved to On 3. Actually, not that long ago, but I was like, you would have Mike Singer doing rankings, like, or being a part of the rankings. That's not. You don't want that.
I get what you mean.
The level of analysis and stuff when you guys send me your thoughts on Notre Dame commits for that expert reaction article, I always do. Like it's next level stuff. So I love it.
That's the gig, man. I mean, I've been doing evaluations for 8 years now. Well, I guess at the college level for 8 years now, doing this, going on year 3, almost year 4. I tell you what, man, the thing that keeps it fun is that it always changes. Learning and evaluating tight ends when I was just getting started is a completely different position now. Linebackers, completely different position. The skill sets of running backs, completely different now. Like, you're asking guys to be third down threats. You're like, Jahmyr Gibbs would have never been a first rounder ever when I was first getting going. Guys that were like sub 210 at running back in the first round didn't exist. Now, every team in the world wants a two-headed monster of a horse that wins between the tackles and a guy that can change the game as a gadget. It's just like, that's the fun of it. It's not a perfect science. It's not this thing that you can plug into a machine and have it spit out accurate results. It's the beauty of art and science, and it all blends together. It's like dance, dude. It's beautiful. It's ever moving. It's so fun. I love it.
So AI is not going to replace your job.
I mean, maybe it could, but will it? It has the objective parts, because I do think that's part of it. Ironically, Mike, I mean, we talk to guys all the time. Like, wouldn't it be nice if you could just plug in a kid's measurables and have it spit out a score? I mean, yeah, it probably could, but it just takes away a whole section of the evaluation. Like, that's the subjective part of it. That's why I get to give an opinion and you get to give an opinion, and one of us might be right, or both of us could be wrong, or like, you never know. And that's sort of the beauty of it.
Love it. Cody, I appreciate you spending an hour with us, man. That was a lot of fun. We'll definitely do this periodically. Get your thoughts on some Notre Dame recruits. Cool. And if you're just joining us live, make sure you rewind, watch from the beginning. Some really good stuff from Cody on the rankings process as a whole. Talked about that for like 8 or 10 minutes, and then went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, guys, 7, six Notre Dame commits, and then one who Notre Dame hopes joins their 2027 commit list, and Teddy George, talking about him a few minutes ago. So that is going to do it for this show. Mike Singer, Kyle Kelly, and Cody Belair talking some Notre Dame recruiting. If you have not done so yet, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com for much more. And as always, we'll catch you next time.